I thought after the art school part, I didn't ever want to go home. I wanted to stay and make things. It didn't feel right. So I kind of, after a couple of years, I'd finished my City and Guilds. I knew that I couldn't stay in this industry if it was going to be like that. And I did a bit of sort of research, and I found that there was a thing called a designer jeweller, and there was a few of them around at the time. They were sort of quite revolutionary, you know. It was in the days, this was in the mid-70s, and sort of from the late 60s right through, there'd been a sort of a designer jeweller had evolved, Andrew Greamer being sort of perhaps one that people might know, and David Thomas, and Gerda Flockingham, and John Donald, and so I just went to one of them, John Donald. I knocked on the door and I said, look, I've done 2 years of an apprenticeship, and is there any chance of a job? And he said yes. So I went and worked for him, and that really was a different thing, because he would draw like an artist. It was sort of like I say, like I'd sort of imagined perhaps that it was like. He would just do a drawing and then give it to the foreman, and the foreman would then hand it out, and so you did. As the jeweller, you made a piece that, all I can say is it was a sort of an interpretation, because it wasn't like a technical drawing, it was quite free, it was quite a sort of a free sketch. And I really liked that. That was brilliant. That felt to me more creative and a little bit more how I'd imagined that the industry was. So then I did about 3 years for him, and so by the time I finished there, I was actually in charge. I'd gone from being like the apprentice to being in charge, and that's because everyone else had left, so it was just me, and that was it really. But I thought, well, I know this industry now, there's no trouble, I've got my head around it, I'm going to go and work for myself, and I literally did that. I worked for myself. I didn't have any clients, I hadn't thought that bit through at all, and I had a little studio in Chiswick, and tiny, it was like the size of this bench, and I probably left, and I was probably making something for my Auntie Peg, my mum, and thought, well, that's my client list, and once I'd finished those two things, I didn't have any more clients. So I was never, you know, I wasn't going to let that put me off. So I sort of came back to Hatton Garden, and it might have been in this building actually. It was a different sort of place then. There was companies where there would be 100 diamond setters. I mean, literally 100. They all sit in rows and rows, and just set diamonds. And I thought, well, I can do that. So I remember once going on a Monday or whatever it was, and being given a pile of diamonds, and they all had to be illusion set. And do people know what an illusion setting is? No. Just out of interest, isn't that funny? Well, an illusion setting is the sort of thing, if you go to Argos, right, and this is a warning for any women out there, that if the box says Argos, you might want to rethink the guy who's giving it to you, okay? So in Argos, they give you, well, I shouldn't say that, but a cheap ring, it would be gold, it'd be 9 carat gold, and there would be a sort of a frenzied attack in the metal on the top that was very, very bright, and in the middle is a diamond. But because it's so bright, it looks like it's a big diamond, so it's called an illusion setting. And I can only say it's a frenzied attack because you had to work so fast to do this thing. It was like a frenzy. It was like a bloody mess. Anyway, I became like the David Blaine of illusion setting. I could just churn these things out. I just got so good at it. And but I remember working out one day. It was like a Saturday. I worked all day, and I'd set God knows how many of these illusion settings. And when I totaled it up, I'd earned £8 because they were paying 13p a diamond. And you think about diamonds, you think about gold, and I don't know if anyone's had any experience yet, but people say in the jewellery industry, oh, right, you know, you're going to be in for the money, you know, there's money in that. Well, there wasn't in illusion setting. So, but you know what, it was pretty good. I'm glad I did it. I couldn't have done it forever, but I'm glad I did it because it was just another thing that you could say, you know, I was still learning about my materials. So that was sort of another area. Anyway, during that period, and it was a period that wasn't dissimilar to today. It was by the time we got now to the early 80s, there was like massively high unemployment. Gold had taken this sort of crazy jump. It had just jumped. It was about $800 or $900 an ounce, and that just seemed extraordinary, like it is today at 1800 or whatever. It was crazy.